Hi everyone. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Today is the story time on how I ended up living in my car for 3 months. Stay tuned. So, how did I ended up living in my car for 3 months? I wanted to inflict the pain before I even had to live it. And when I tell you this, it's because my beginnings were really rough. I wanted to feel the pain before I even had to live it. I wanted to feel the discomfort. I wanted to be out of my comfort zone. My beginnings were not easy at all. And I knew that sooner or later I will have to live this. So I would rather inflict this pain on myself than live it out of random circumstances. So, how did I ended up in this situation? First of all, I was living with my sister. My mom left to New York to live with his boyfriend, and no dad in this scenario. You already know. So I was only like 19. I was working as a waitress, and basically, we were in a studio, in a small studio, me and my sister, and a dog, a small Yorkie. Imagine how hard was that. So I figure that I really wanted my independence. I had been independent before, but I do have another story time on how I lost my independence at 18. That was another story. Um, but basically, I just wanted my own apartment and I just wanted to be by myself. And I knew that I didn't have any help from anybody. Nobody can help me. My other sister had her own life. She was with his current boyfriend, and basically, I didn't have nowhere to go. And I knew that sooner or later, because of my specific situation, that I didn't have any help, nowhere whatsoever. I needed to rely on myself only. So I basically decided to put everything that I own in a storage unit. I was paying a car at that time. It was like $300 a month. And I decided to put really dark, really, like literally the darkest tinted windows ever, everywhere, so nobody can see me. And I already like planned how to live in my car. I already have all the accessories that I needed it. Um, and I knew that this was the only way because my sister couldn't even do anything better for herself. My other sister couldn't count on her. My mom was in her own world, and my dad nowhere to be found. So I literally had to inflict this pain and knew that it was a temporary thing that lasted 3 months. However, however, I had this plan of sleeping in Walmart. I have heard from other people that you can do it with RVs and things like that. I was, because Walmart at that time was 24 hours, so I decided to do so there. And it was very hard. The first 3 nights, it felt like an adventure because I was 19, remember. To me, anything could be an adventure at that point. But at that point, felt like an adventure for the first 3 days, but after that, it felt more and more uncomfortable. It felt more and more like a sacrifice. And by the first week, second week, I already felt the pain of knowing that I only had God at that point in my life. Nobody knew about this. Nobody even cared to knew what was going on. Nobody really asked me where I was. Nobody ever asked me, "Can I visit you?" And this is kind of like the painful thing to know, and the painful memories that, yeah, you already know. But yeah, it was painful at that point, knowing that you kind of like are like a burden for certain people and you only have yourself. I remember myself crying a lot of nights in the car alone, asking God for help and asking God to guide me and many things, many other things. But I remember by the second week, or by the month, more or less, I remember some sort of strength came to my body. And I knew that it was God protecting me, obviously, because I was in really dangerous, could have been in really dangerous situations, but I knew that God was protecting me all the time. And these strengths that all of a sudden came to my body, letting me know that everything was going to be okay. So after 2 months and a half, more or less, I found a studio. I rented this studio and the pain ended. What I learned from this situation is that I'm not a victim. I wanted to take the situation by the horns and I wanted to be in charge of my life. I didn't want to be a victim of circumstances. I wanted to be a creator of my destiny. So basically, by inflicting this pain early on, knowing that yes, you only have God to rely on when you don't have nobody else, is a good truth to know early on. And the earlier you know that, the earlier you're going to be successful in life. Because that's the pure truth. Nobody will be on your side more than God, believe me. So, even though the memories of this situation were really, really, really bad and negative, I also have memories of strength. I have memories of God showing up every single day, every single night of that situation happening and protecting me. And this is when my relationship with God grew even more to that point. So I noticed that I had to literally, because I had so much resentment from my parents for not being there when I was younger. I had to heal. Now that I'm 32, I had to heal all of that because my mom was not focused enough in the things that she should have been focused, like being there for your children. That's one of the things that you as a mom should be doing. But if you're not, I that's one of the things that I had to forgive her for. That's one of the things that I had to forgive my father for, because when you bring a child to this world, it's not their responsibility so early on to take care of themselves like that. You should be the parent. And if you're not going to be a parent, don't have kids. But anyway, what I had to learn from all of this is that I was stronger than I knew I could be. I mature I mature very, very much. And basically, from now and then, my strength grew tremendously. I felt unstoppable, and I felt like nothing else could really destroy me at that point, because that was like my rock bottom. Literally, that was my rock bottom. That's why when many other adversities came in the next years, I bounced back really, really quick as I could. So I learned many lessons from this, many, many lessons. I learned that there's also people that are random strangers that will help you more than your own family. I learned that you can be in the most horrible situation in your life, and if you keep your arms open to God, He'll be there for you, protecting you. You just have to keep your arms open. So, and the other thing that I learned is that you should have more strategy in life, and you should wait for certain things. Even though I wanted to inflict this pain early on because I felt so lonely and unsupported from my parents and family in general, I learned that I could have waited and strategized my moves a little bit better. I could have stayed with my sister for longer, and even though we were really, really uncomfortable, maybe we could have be better together. But at that point, I was still immature, very immature, and I felt very lonely at that point. So I couldn't see things in a clear way, in a clear mind. So that was one of the things that I could have done better. But I really wanted to feel that pain, honestly, because imagine you as as somebody that comes from another country with very little family, no dad, and your mom is not focused, and things are really, really hard for you. Imagine you don't have any guidance, so sometimes you make the worst decisions, and sometimes you think you know it all. But from every action that I took the responsibility of the results that I was gonna get. So I I knew that this was dangerous. I just really wanted to know how strong I was inside, to know how strong I could handle, like to know that I could handle the hardest things ever. So from that time, I know that I can handle many, many hard things, and I'm not as easily to break. So yeah, that was the story on how I ended up living in my car at 19, almost 20 years old. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. It's not a fun story. It's actually, I would say, it's not a sad story either, but it's a real story. So I hope you guys don't try it at home. Remember, strategize your moves. This is something that I learned when I was 30. Now I'm 32, but I wouldn't do the same things I did when I was 19. Strategize your every single move. Okay, yes, God will be with you, but don't, if you can, don't do what I did. If you have other options, do something better, more intelligent. Wait, wait your time, save money, and yeah, save your money because at the end of the day, maybe you have more people on your side than I did, and maybe that can be your power move. I didn't have a lot of people. I didn't have anybody to count on. So that's the only possibility that I found to have. But I believe that you guys can do better than that. All right. Thank you guys.